It's bound to hurt, Jimmy.
What's on my legs? Something holding them down?
It's all right, old chap. It's just a shock. Numbing.
It's awfully decent of you to bother, Dennis. I'd feel rotten lying here, everybody else up there.
It's not your fault, Jimmy.
So damn silly getting hit. Is it just a drop of water?
David Grindley's international, multi-award winning production of R.C. Sherriff's masterpiece Journey's End arrives at Wolverhampton Grand Theatre on Tuesday the 4th of October.
It's about the story of Stanhope, the captain of the company, who is surprised by the arrival of a childhood friend, Rawley, who is also his fiance's brother. And it's about Stanhope being absolutely petrified that Rawley is going to report back to his fiancée that he's not the vigour and he's not the same man that he was when he left. In fact, he's an alcoholic and his nerves are absolutely shot to pieces.
Popular educational material, A Journey's End tells the tale of ordinary men in extraordinary circumstances set in the trenches of the First World War. Express and Star were invited to retrace the steps of our fallen heroes.
For the French and the British, a trench wasn't something to defend yourself in. The Germans built massively strong defensive trenches because they were here to hold the land they'd conquered. The British and the French just saw trenches as something that you jumped off from. They were a jumping off point to attack the enemy. You weren't intending to stain them. They were just to get your troops up to the front with some protection to launch an attack on the enemy. And so for that reason, British and French trenches were never ever built in the same way the German ones were, which obviously caused a problem when the Germans launched a big massive assault like they did at St. Cloud.
And as frequent heavy showers dampened our path, we could only imagine the conditions soldiers faced as we went from Loos Battlefield, Vimini Ridge and Notre Dame to Lorient.
They're very cramped, damp, muddy. They'd be underground. They'd be living amongst rats. There'd be very little air. It'd be rancid.
Horrendous conditions for ordinary men who were called up to increase the number of the British Army from a mere 200,000 reserve to 1 million. One of those men was Leslie G. Shaw, an officer in the South Stafford's 5th Battalion. He died on the 13th of October along with hundreds of Black Country soldiers during the Battle of Loos. Like thousands of others, his body was never found. His grief-stricken parents paid for a stained glass window in memory of their youngest son at Wombourne United Reformed Church.
What was so extraordinary about it is the fact you've got men from all walks of life who would have walked past each other on the high street, bankers, bakers, candlestick makers, and yet they'd have been brought together, and they probably never have exchanged 2 words to each other, but they find themselves in a trench together.
A Journey's End runs from the 4th of October through to the 8th. For tickets, call the box office on 01902 429 212.